10, 11!
What if the toughest soldiers in movie history were hiding secrets even crazier than the mission itself? The Dirty Dozen wasn't just about war. It was about chaos ego and pure Hollywood rebellion. Behind those explosions and uniforms were real injuries, secret feuds, last-minute rewrites, and moments that nearly shut down the entire production. Some actors risked their lives, others risked their careers, and a few walked away, changed forever. So sit back, relax, and get ready to discover the 15 shocking behind-the-scenes secrets that the Dirty Dozen never wanted you to know. Number 15. Lee Marvin's real war scars were hidden on set. Lee Marvin didn't need to act tough. He was tough. Before he ever held a movie gun, he'd been a real Marine wounded in the Battle of Saipan during World War II. A bullet tore through his leg, and he was hospitalized for months. When filming The Dirty Dozen, Marvin was already in chronic pain, and the crew had to quietly reblock several scenes so he wouldn't limp on camera. But Marvin wasn't interested in hiding the truth. He told director Robert Aldrich, "The limp's part of me, leave it." Aldrich compromised. Close-up scenes showed Marvin's raw authority, while long takes hid his stride. Off-set, Marvin refused stunt doubles, saying he wanted the pain to show in Reisman's eyes. Even more surprising, Marvin reportedly hated war itself. He once told reporters, "You don't celebrate a slaughter." That conflict between soldier and survivor gave his performance its haunting edge. The war made him famous, and it also never let him go. Number 14. Ernest Borgnine secretly rewrote his own lines. Ernest Borgnine may have looked every bit the confident general, but early in production, he wasn't happy. The original script painted General Worden as a flat one-note authority figure, all bark, no humanity. Borgnine wanted depth. During table readings, he started ad-libbing sarcastic comments that weren't in the script, calling The Dirty Dozen a circus with rifles. Director Aldrich loved it. Together, they reshaped Worden into the film's cynical conscience, the man who understood both the system and its hypocrisy. Borgnine later said, "I made him a man who's done his time, seen it all, and just wants it over." His improvisations were so strong that MGM reportedly demanded he stick to the page. Aldrich ignored them, telling the studio, "If you want the truth, let Borgnine talk." That decision paid off. Borgnine's scenes grounded the chaos, and his famous line, "Those men are the Dirty Dozen," became one of the most iconic in war film history. Number 13. Charles Bronson nearly quit over screen time. Charles Bronson had a reputation for quiet intensity, but when cameras rolled on The Dirty Dozen, that silence broke. Bronson reportedly clashed with Aldrich over how little his character Ladislaw appeared in the early drafts. He just starred in The Magnificent Seven and didn't want to fade into the background. Tensions flared when a key monologue one Bronson believed defined his character was cut without warning. Furious, he stormed off the set and packed his bags. MGM executives panicked. Losing Bronson meant chaos. But it was Lee Marvin who saved the day. He met Bronson privately and told him, "This isn't a solo act, it's a symphony." Bronson returned the next morning and delivered some of his most nuanced work. Ironically, critics later praised his restraint as one of the movie's emotional anchors. His performance spoke volumes with few words, and that quiet power became his signature for the rest of his career. Number 12. John Cassavetes was never supposed to be in the movie. Believe it or not, John Cassavetes almost didn't make The Dirty Dozen at all. The studio originally wanted Jack Nicholson, but he turned it down to do a smaller project. Cassavetes, known for his emotional indie roles, was offered the part of Victor Franco at the last minute. At first, he hated it. Cassavetes complained that the character was too nasty and written like a gangster with no reason. Director Aldrich gave him one condition: then make him yours. Cassavetes did exactly that. He improvised insults, rewrote dialogue, and transformed Franco from a cardboard criminal into a firecracker of nervous rebellion. Off camera, though, He clashed with crew members for constantly breaking character. When another actor asked why he never stayed in role, Cassavetes grinned and said, "I'm an actor, not a lunatic." That loose energy became the film's lightning rod. Critics loved it. His performance earned him an Oscar nomination, all from a part he nearly turned down. Number 11. Jim Brown retired from the NFL while filming. One of Hollywood's wildest moments in sports history happened right on the Dirty Dozen set. Jim Brown, the NFL's biggest superstar, was still under contract with the Cleveland Browns when filming began. But production delays in England pushed the shoot into football season, and team owner Art Modell wasn't pleased. Modell threatened Brown with fines if he didn't return immediately. Brown didn't argue. He announced his retirement instead. Right there, mid-production, Hollywood stole football's greatest player. The news exploded across the world. Reporters swarmed the set, and MGM's publicity department went into overdrive. Brown's retirement became free marketing. Suddenly, The Dirty Dozen wasn't just a movie, it was an event. Brown later said that scene where Jefferson charges into gunfire symbolized his own freedom. "It was me saying I don't play for anyone but myself anymore." That moment changed his life, and it made him a Hollywood icon overnight. Number 10. Telly Savalas' character was almost cut entirely. Telly Savalas brought unforgettable menace to Archer Maggot, the deranged religious fanatic of the group. But few fans know that MGM executives wanted to cut his role down before filming even started. They feared Maggot was too disturbing for mainstream audiences. Director Robert Aldrich fought back hard. He told the studio, "That's the point. War brings out the monsters." Savalas, eager to prove his worth, threw himself into the part with eerie precision. He'd wander set, whispering biblical lines under his breath, unnerving the cast. Lee Marvin reportedly refused to eat lunch near him because Telly stayed too far inside the madness. Savalas's commitment paid off. His chilling performance balanced the film's humor and heroism with something raw and uncomfortable. It made The Dirty Dozen more than an action movie, it made it a study of human extremes. Ironically, the man MGM almost erased became one of its most unforgettable. Number 9. Trini Lopez vanished mid-film for real. Fans often wonder why Pedro Jimenez, played by Trini Lopez, disappears partway through the movie. The truth is stranger than fiction. Midway through production, Lopez's agent told him that the shoot was running over schedule and that if he didn't get back to Los Angeles soon, his music career would suffer. Lopez took the warning seriously. Without notice, he left London assuming his scenes were done. When Aldrich found out, he was furious. Rather than recasting, the director simply wrote Lopez's character, out-killed off-screen in a demolition accident. It's why Jimenez suddenly stops appearing after the parachute sequence. Years later, Lopez admitted in interviews, "It was the worst mistake of my career." Ironically, Aldrich told him later, "You died a hero, at least that part of you stayed in the movie." Today, Lopez's abrupt exit remains one of Hollywood's strangest behind-the-scenes mysteries, proof that not even war movies can predict friendly fire. Number 8. Donald Sutherland's famous scene was a last-minute fluke. One of The Dirty Dozen's funniest moments comes when Donald Sutherland's character Vernon Pinkley pretends to inspect the troops as a general, a prank ordered by Lee Marvin's Reisman. But here's the twist. That entire scene was a mistake. Originally, it was written for Clint Walker, who played Posey. But Walker, a real-life gentle giant, refused. He told Aldrich, "Sir, I can't mock officers. It goes against my upbringing." The director was stuck. Then, Marvin pointed at Sutherland, still new and mostly silent in the film, and said, "Let him do it." Aldrich agreed, rewrote the scene overnight, and the next day, Sutherland improvised the entire performance. His nervous smirk, the salute, even his confused glances, all genuine. That moment turned Sutherland from background player to breakout star. Critics later credited that single scene for launching his Hollywood career. One lucky improv and a little fear made him unforgettable. Number 7. George Kennedy wasn't supposed to be there. Before the Dirty Dozen, George Kennedy had just finished Cool Hand Luke and was exhausted. MGM originally planned to cast another actor as Major, Armbruster, but when scheduling collapsed, Aldrich called Kennedy 2 weeks before shooting. Kennedy said yes, but only for a small fee and no rehearsal time. The result? His performance feels completely natural because it was. Kennedy learned most of his dialogue on the plane to London and relied on pure instinct once cameras rolled. His gravelly authority came from confusion as much as confidence. He was literally figuring out scenes in real time. Crew members joked that Kennedy acted like he'd already fought the war. He later admitted, "Half the time I didn't know the next line, so I just barked something gruff and it stuck." Ironically, audiences praised that rough-edged realism. Sometimes chaos really does create the most authentic soldier. Number 6. Clint Walker's life-threatening on-set accident. Clint Walker, the towering star who played Samson Posey, nearly didn't survive the shoot. During a late-night explosion sequence, a mistimed pyrotechnic charge detonated too early, sending debris flying across the set. Walker's helmet absorbed most of the blast, but a jagged metal shard sliced his shoulder and neck. Production halted instantly. Crew medics feared the worst, but Walker brushed it off, insisting he was fine, and finishing the scene before heading to the hospital. Doctors later said he was centimeters from a fatal artery wound. Walker returned days later, heavily bandaged, refusing stunt doubles. When Aldrich urged him to rest, Walker replied, "I signed up to play a soldier. Soldiers don't get breaks." That real-world grit shows in his every frame. Most fans, watching that calm, stoic Posey, never realize they're seeing a man who just stared death in the face for real. Number 5. The real Army tried to stop the film. Not everyone cheered when The Dirty Dozen began production. The United States Army hated it. Military advisors assigned to the project were horrified by the script's depiction of officers as sadists and convicts as heroes. They threatened to pull all cooperation, including vehicles, uniforms, and even location access. Aldrich refused to budge. "We're not making a recruitment film," he said. To save the project, the studio struck a compromise: no official military logos or identifiable units could appear on screen. That's why the movie's Army insignia look slightly off. They're all fictional designs created overnight by the costume department. Ironically, the controversy fueled publicity. Newspapers called it the anti-war war movie, and ticket sales skyrocketed. Decades later, historians noted that Aldrich's defiance helped pave the way for gritty Vietnam-era films like MASH and Apocalypse Now. The Army may have disapproved, but audiences loved the rebellion. Number 4. The cast's infamous English pub brawl. Filming in the quiet English countryside didn't stay quiet for long. One weekend, several cast members, including Marvin, Telly Savalas, and John Cassavetes, visited a local pub. After a grueling shoot, locals recognized them and started teasing, shouting, "Let's see how tough the Dirty Dozen really are." What began as playful banter escalated into a full-blown bar fight. Witnesses later said chairs flew, pints shattered, and Marvin ended up helping break up the chaos rather than start it. The local paper ran the headline, "Hollywood War Comes to Aldbury." MGM panicked, fearing scandal, but Aldrich reportedly laughed it off, saying, "At least they fight better off camera." The men apologized the next morning and even bought drinks for the entire pub. That legendary brawl bonded the cast for good, turning strangers into brothers long before the cameras captured it. Number 3. The explosive finale almost destroyed the set. The climactic explosion at the chateau wasn't movie magic, it was dangerously real. Aldrich demanded authenticity, so special effects crews rigged an actual full-scale building with over 70 controlled charges. But wind conditions shifted just as they rolled cameras. The blast came out 5 times stronger than expected. Flames tore through the structure, and debris rained down perilously close to the actors. You can see genuine shock on their faces. In the final cut, it's not acting. Cameramen dove for cover while film stock burned in the heat. Miraculously, no one was killed, though several crew members suffered burns and hearing loss. Aldrich called it the scariest 2 seconds of my life. Yet that terrifying realism gave The Dirty Dozen one of the most iconic endings in war movie history. When the smoke cleared, the director simply muttered, "Well, we got it." Number 2. The studio tried to change the ending. After test screenings, MGM executives were horrified by the film's grim conclusion, most of the dozen dying in the Chateau assault. They demanded a rewrite. Can't at least half of them live? Audiences need heroes. Aldrich refused. He argued that the deaths were the point redemption through sacrifice. Lee Marvin backed him, threatening to walk if the studio softened the ending. The standoff grew so tense that MGM considered hiring another editor to fix the tone behind Aldrich's back. In the end, Aldrich prevailed largely thanks to critical buzz, calling the film boldly un-Hollywood. The tragic finale stayed, and audiences embraced it. The Dirty Dozen went on to become one of 1967's top-grossing films, proving that honesty beats formula every time. It's still studied today as the rare blockbuster that dared to end with ashes instead of applause. Number 1. The sequel that never happened. After The Dirty Dozen became a global hit, MGM immediately planned a big-budget sequel, bringing back Lee Marvin and surviving characters. Scripts were drafted, sets designed, and Marvin offered a record salary. But he refused. Marvin told the studio, "You can't repeat that kind of lightning." He feared a follow-up would cheapen the message. When he walked away, the project collapsed, leaving only a series of lower-budget TV spin-offs years later. Insiders later revealed that Marvin donated part of his bonus from the first film to veterans' hospitals, saying, "If we're going to play soldiers, we'd better remember the real ones." That gesture closed the book on The Dirty Dozen with dignity. It never needed a sequel. The movie's legacy was already complete. A brutal, brilliant reminder that sometimes heroes are forged in punishment, not praise. So, there you have it. 15 secrets hidden behind one of the most explosive war movies ever made. From real-life scars and midnight brawls to defiance against Hollywood itself. The Dirty Dozen proved that courage doesn't stop when the director yells, "Cut." Now it's your turn. What shocked you the most? Tell us in the comments below, hit that like button, and don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into classic cinema. Until next time, keep your helmets close and your secrets closer.